Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing
Are we
well.
live?
Yes, we are.
Oh, sweet. Good.
It's like,
Good
oh
to
shoot, I
know.
needed to fix something like in the middle of doing something. Yeah,
Nice.
it's
Good to
brilliant.
know.
Yep, just
Awesome.
waiting for the stream delay to catch up so I can make sure we have lay audio.
Lay audio. Ah, yes, lay audio. Lay audio is always good to have. I do like a good lay audio. I gotta bring up my list for tonight. I
Lists.
thoroughly enjoyed last week, so we're definitely doing that again.
Yeah, I mean, they did all right. It's this on the short form,
Yeah,
and
the reels on them did really well.
so
A couple good ones on TikTok, a couple good ones on Instagram.
content.
But more importantly, I had fun making them and doing them.
Hello and welcome to the Shifting Lanes Garage podcast. My name is Chad. With me, as always, is Greg. Haha, pointed the right way. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I am in my garage. In my garage, not a Lamborghini. Um, doing well. It's a lot cooler than the last time I was out here, which is very nice. Um, it is still disgustingly hot here in New Jersey, but it is not as bad as it was. So I'm happy. I got a fan going. It's cool outside now, and life is good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Just making sure everything's working as it should. Back here.
Sure seems like it is.
No, to some of our more eagle-eyed viewers, they will have noticed that I have the layouts changed a little bit. And
Hmm.
so we are. I'm just sitting here
Yep.
in the back end, just making sure it's working. For some reason, chat on one of the scenes isn't. Oh. There we go.
DCMA.
Yeah, right. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't even know what song it was. All her just like, like, yeah, I can vibe to this. Let's go. Yeah, it's what happens when you have open garage and teenagers living in your neighborhood.
Yeah, well, you know,
That will happen.
choices you made.
Yes, that is true. Mine aren't teenagers though, thankfully. Yet.
I mean, it happens.
That's right. So yeah, how are you? How are you doing? Are you good?
Yeah.
Is everything swell?
Yeah. No, everything's doing all right.
Excellent.
Been planning out the next been planning out for forever, it feels like now, but hopefully this week we're finally getting to filming my next long form, which is an interesting project.
Yes.
It's something I'm trying something new, trying something a little
Ooh.
different but similar, with kind of the formatting and stuff like that. I'm Greg. We've talked about it. I'm not gonna, but like we're trying something different. I guess the best way to put it. Again, it's gonna
Yep.
still feel very familiar to people who have watched our vlogs and stuff like that. But I wanted to add an element, add something interesting in there. And see what happens. That other people aren't
So
kind of doing.
Chad's painting his Mustang pink. Cool. Got it.
I mean, I'm not painting it, but at some point, pink will be a predominant feature of the livery.
Nope, just all hot pink. Barbie pink. White wheels.
Never gonna happen.
Let's go.
I mean, Lark color scheme. That's the plan.
Yeah.
So, Steve, what's going on,
Agree.
buddy? Welcome back. Hey, uh,
How you doing? How you doing?
hey.
Um,
So, so you put a bigger turbo on the Volvo yet?
no, no, nothing yet. I wish. But yeah, I mean,
I mean, well, we all know where you're
we'll
headed.
see.
You know,
We'll see.
that's You still haven't cleaned
We'll see.
the glue residue off of it, I see.
Nope. Nope. Still have it. Probably not going to until I get like a proper detail. Because I want someone to like buff that out. I don't want to do that myself with Goo Gone and a towel. That's not really ideal.
Come on, you're the resident shifting lanes detailer.
Yeah, I mean, I really want a dual action polisher, honestly. But they're like $500, and I'm like, yeah, I need $1,000 worth of exterminator work right now, so I can't really afford that this month. Maybe next month.
Uh,
Yeah, but
Extermination.
it'll happen. It'll happen eventually. Yeah, there's some rodents living in my basement. There's like acorns and stuff down there, and I'm like, cool, cool, nice. So where are the pellet guns that we take them out with exactly?
I mean, if you're a true
I'm just gonna
red-blooded,
sit down there.
if you were a true red-blooded American, you would have, you'd have a can on a 22.
I'm just gonna sit down there with a night vision scope and a deagle. Like, all right, chipmunk, time to become mist. Where are you?
I mean, the deagle is so unnecessary for that. And
Yeah, I know.
well, next
That's
time
the
we
point.
see you, your right hand being a cast.
That's okay. The chipmunk will be will literally just be pulp on the wall, and it'd be totally worth it.
As long as you don't flinch.
Yeah, touche. Um, so anyway, let's talk some cars.
Yes.
I think cars is cool. I mean, last week, if you didn't tune in, we did rankings last week, and we did them blind rankings. We're gonna do a couple more this week because one, they were really fun. Two, you guys really liked them. We had like between 10 and 15 people concurrently on stream watching us do that, which was a lot of fun. And then we made some short form content out of it. Chad did the lovely snip snap and cut them up, put them onto some reels and short form stuff, and they did really well. And you guys really seemed to enjoy them. So we're gonna do it again. Why not? Because it was a lot of fun. So I think you said you have two, right? For me? Can't hear you.
Yes.
Sweet. And I have one for you. So, with that said, I say we start to start with that tonight. And then we can get into some interesting news that we heard out of the Formula One region, but that'll come later. Well, fun stuff first, and then interesting stuff later, if that works for you.
Why does I have a hotkey that I still haven't deleted, and that's why my face disappears. In case anyone was wondering.
I was gonna say, as much as I love seeing your face, I'm really enjoying the Tron AI Mustang and Volvo as well.
I'm not gonna lie, I still like those graphics way more than I probably should.
They're pretty sweet, honestly. They're a nice mix of 80s with modern. Big fan. Plus, the color scheme is really badass.
Yeah.
So, since you have two and I have one, you hit me first.
Alrighty, so Greg, where's my list?
Yes.
As we know here, on shifting lanes, as we know here, Greg is a big fan of what's the word? British sports cars. So, today we're going. I put a list. List together that are ones that I actually would potentially, maybe, sort of at some point down the road, consider looking into possibly buying. One of them is one I would absolutely do. The others are they're cool and all, but I'm not the one ranking these. Greg, you are the one ranking these. So, blindly rank these 5 British sports cars, starting with the Lotus Exige.
Oh, that's an interesting one. The Exige is the like middle child that everyone forgets about. Everyone's like, "Ooh, Lotus Elise, that's cool. Ooh, Lotus Evora, that's cool. What the hell is that thing?" that's basically what they do. They go, "Exige, didn't know that existed. What is that?" Basically, it's a Lotus Elise, but turned up to 11, which is awesome, and I very much approve of it. Exige. Honestly, probably the coolest named Lotus, to be honest with you. 1 through 5. This is tough because the Exige is cool, but there are other Lotuses that I like better. Wouldn't it be funny if you brought out just a Lotus, a Lotus list? Like, rank these 5 British sports cars: Lotus Exige, Lotus Elise, Lotus Evora, Lotus Elan. I'm like, no, son of a bitch. Um, I mean, the Exige is cool. There are other cooler British sports cars. As far as driving dynamics are concerned, it's really hard to beat. It's just a big go-kart. So, I don't know. I can't put it at 5, but I feel like there's going to be better ones on the list. Let's go. I'll put the Exige at 4.
Lotus Exige 4. It's just going to be Lotus Exige, Lotus Elise, whatever.
Yep.
Original Hennessy Venom, which is sort of an Exige.
Tesla Roadster. Like, oh, it's kind of like an Elise, but kind of not.
And then like the Europa.
Yeah, yes.
Look,
which would be number 1, just because of how weird that thing is, and I love it.
Look, these things are basically boring as sin. No, I'm kidding. Look, it's an adult go-kart. It really is.
Yeah, 100%.
But arguably one of the top 2 usage of they were a Toyota, or they were originally, what were they? Originally a Rover, and then when they came over here, they were a Toyota 4-cylinder. And I know a lot of people are actually K-swapping these things too. So,
yes.
Really good, really fun, easy to get very wrong.
Yep.
Cool little cars. I don't think 4 is outlandish, or is it? All right, so our second. So you have the Lotus Exige at 4. Our next car on the list is basically a car you are quite enamored with, and that is.
Oh, geez, I know what's coming.
That is the Jaguar F-Type R.
Well, personally, man, I would put it at 1, but I'm trying to play the game here a little bit. So, I don't know. For me, I got to put it at 2 because I feel like there's going to be maybe another car potentially above it. But I also don't think it is the best British sports car. There are definitely better British sports cars. A couple of Aston Martins come to mind, honestly. I just love it because it's so much car for the money, and it's sounds amazing. They're relatively cheap now. You can pick them up for like 35, 40 grand here in the US. So insane value for dollar, and they look gorgeous. They're just drop dead gorgeous. So 2, I put that at 2, and I'm very happy with where that's going. Chad's smiling, and I'm not happy with him smiling. You're also muted.
No, there was a part of me when I was conducting these lists to just put like 7 or 8 on my list, and depending on where you rank stuff, pull like just do 5, but have others on the list just for the sole purpose of messing with you.
Don't do that. That ruins the game.
But well, maybe for you.
Well, yeah, it makes it very fun for you, for sure.
But no, I decided against that just because with just 5, the gotcha moment is better. But
true.
Andrew, welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Andrew?
So you have. I mean, here's the funny thing, right? Like, you are more than likely within the next 6 to 18 months gonna have a Jaguar F-Type R. Like, maybe, if the gods allow it, if life doesn't throw you another curveball or any of that, it is the odds-on Vegas favorite for your next vehicle at the moment.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It is a dream car, and it's an attainable dream car. So who knows? Hopefully we can make it happen.
You know, and then a curveball that I just noticed in chat here is hopefully Kate doesn't see what Andrew's point was, is the official car of men with mistresses.
I saw that too, and I read that in Clarkson's voice.
Yeah, I can't think of a
Official
Jaguar and
car,
without like,
men with a mistress.
and I can't think of their. Oh dear, I seem to have left my wallet back in the Jag. So, which is why I'm just
The
gonna have a tattoo
Jag.
of your Venmo, or a QR code tattooed on your hand that links directly to your Venmo. So anytime we're out, it's just like click, request money. But no, I mean,
I like it.
again, these cars, like, there's one or two that I would even consider. The Jaguars on that fringe of, they're very cool. Would I own one? Hell yeah. Would I buy one? There's stuff ahead of it. But
Right.
your next car
Mm-hmm.
is the generation that you, so the next car is the generation that you owned, Aston Martin V8 Vantage. So like the
Ooh.
'06 to 13 or whatever it was.
All right. Well, now I'm kind of angry that I put the F-Type R at 3 because
You
as
put the
a
F Type
as
R
a
at 2.
car, or sorry, as I'm sorry, mad I put the F-Type R at 2 and wish I put it at 3 because I would probably put the V Advantage above the F-Type for a couple of reasons. It's more unique. It's arguably more beautiful. It is a more interesting car. It definitely has a better interior from a luxury and classic beauty standpoint.
Gotta love that C30 dash.
Yeah, yeah, that C30 waterfall, super nice. Um, the outside is timeless. It also comes with a manual transmission. The F-Type R does not. Not that the F-Type R needs one, because it's
Yes, it does.
550 supercharged horsepower. I mean, look, would I like an F-Type R with a manual? Hell yeah. Does it need it? No, I don't think so. The Aston Martin V Advantage does, because the other option is a flappy paddle semi-automatic or automated manual, I think is how they call it, gearbox. And I've driven both. The manual is just insanely better, and it's not even close. Like, the single clutch thing is cool now because everything is like so automated and super fast. It has character to it with the Vantage, but the manual in that car is just so good. And as far as British sports cars go, I mean, to me, it's an all-timer. It is, for all the reasons I mentioned, gorgeous, fun to drive, really cool, really unique, eye turner. I mean, or head turner. I'm gonna regret this decision, but I'm gonna put that at number one. It's an awesome car and it deserves to be there. As someone who's owned one, it's hard not to put that at number one. It's a great car and it's absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
You are correct. There was a right and wrong answer for that, and you got it correct.
I mean, the F-Type's gorgeous, but the V Advantage is a better looking car. Period. Just from an aesthetic standpoint.
Alrighty. Next up is another vehicle I know you've wanted, and it is the.
Oh.
So next up is another
Oh no.
another car on Gregson's list that happens to come from the Brits, and that is the Lotus Evora GT.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So, I mean, look, I think it's a very cool car. Is it cooler than an Exige? Is it a better car than an Exige? I would say as a car, it's a better car than an Exige because it actually has creature comforts as opposed to the Exige, which literally just has a metal floor and nothing else. As a driver's car, still a good driver's car, but an Exige is a better driver's car. So, oh man, it's either got 3 or 5. Ugh. I feel like there's gonna be some trump card at the end where it's gonna be like, haha, you put this at 5. What an idiot. But for me, I'd buy the Evora over an Exige. So I gotta put it at 3. It's got manual. If you really want to, you can have it in automatic, but you shouldn't because the manual is great. It's really cool looking. It's really quick. It makes a great sound, and you can actually use it as a car. So I gotta put it at 3.
3. That is that is interesting.
Yeah, I gotta put it
But
at 3.
again,
I can't rightfully put it at 5.
exactly. Because what you actually did put at 5 was the first gen. Well, I shouldn't say first generation, but it was the DB9 era DBS.
Oh man, well that's a mistake. Yeah. So yeah, I messed up here. Um, because that should be at number 1, and then the Vantage at number 2. Um, but look, that's the way the game goes, unfortunately. Um, yeah, the DBS is quite literally one of the all-time greatest cars ever made from that generation, from the Gaydon era of of Aston Martin. So yeah, that sucks that I put it at 5, but that's the way the cookie crumbles in the game, I guess. Um, our buddy Tavares has one. It was his dream car. Our buddy Afan over at Cars and Shy also has one with a Larini exhaust on it, and it is wildly loud and awesome, um, and just all time good looks. Plus manual transmission. I mean, there's really nothing that could beat that car in any of those categories from that era, in my opinion. It is probably the best car out of the 2000s, from 2000 and 2010, of everything, in my opinion. Looks, sound, just overall. I don't think I can't name a car that would beat it in my book, really.
Hold on, Greg. I'll be right back.
Okay. So what's up? How's everyone doing? We got T Nutty over on YouTube. What's up, man? Welcome. Y'all finna do something strange, or y'all just talking cars? So, as Chad said, we're a car podcast, so we're just talking cars. I'm in my garage, hence Shifting Lanes garage. And right now we're doing rankings. So we're doing blind rankings of what's it called? Of basically just different topics that we're thinking of. So Chad's latest topic there was rank these 5 British sports cars blindly. I did, and I screwed up. DBS came at 5. So my next topic for him, I have in front of me, and I'm gonna do that. Cars, yeah, go ahead and kiss, buddy. Huh? I'm so confused by that comment. But if you like cars, just hang out, man. We're having a good time. I'm not sure where Chad went exactly, but we're going to.
Sorry,
Oh, there he is.
the
I found him.
what you call it? Phone was ringing.
Oh, all good.
So,
No worries.
and I was also
So yeah.
doing YouTube things. At any rate, no, I think, look, if it were me, it'd be Aston Martin V8 Vantage 1, Jaguar F-Type 2, DBS 3, and then
Yep.
the Chapman mobiles I'll just give to you.
Yeah, I hear you.
But,
I hear you.
no, I mean, look, I think as a list, you're almost there, but,
Yeah,
you know,
it's not 100%.
so, no, you did okay-ish.
Yeah.
We're not gonna hold it against you much. But real quick before we get into your list for me,
Yes.
where was it? Steve sent he's looking at a Lexus LS 430 from the
Ooh,
pictures. Let's see here.
good car. Should run until the earth explodes.
Let's see here. That's why. Alrighty, so hold on. I'm just trying to bring it up.
All good. Right now, I'm drinking Sunny D.
Oh, I'll have some of that purple stuff.
So apparently, they make HARD seltzers now.
Well, that I hate to break it to you, but
like everyone else, does.
I hate to break it. No, I was gonna say I hate to break it to you, but that's been a thing for a minute. Um,
I've never seen them before. I literally saw it the other day, and I was just like, well, yeah, I grew up in the '90s, so I'm gonna have to buy this and try it. Had no idea. Also, it's not great.
uh,
It tastes like a Smirnoff.
oh, well,
So I'm icing myself.
the fruity will do that, but no, there's some good ones
Yeah.
out there. They go down
Yeah.
way too easy.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're dangerous.
God damn it! That's up with two hosts. It's just
So LS430 is from what gen? That's like mid 2000s, correct? Like or late 2000s, like 2006 through 2010. I want to say.
yeah. This one is a 2003.
Wait, this is the same generation that Speed Academy did, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my probably favorite or second favorite generation of LS. And not the engine.
No, this
Doug is not here to be angry at that phrase, at that sentence.
no the no, because weirdly enough, it's the I don't it the engine is the one thing on these that I'm like, really? Like, it's one of those things where Lexus nailed it with the 1UZ, and then
Mm-hmm.
like the 3UZ came along, and they're like, hey, it's got more displacement, but it still makes the same horse. What? Huh?
Yeah.
Still makes the same
Yeah.
horsepower.
So-
So like, but
Spin me a yarn, Chad. Why is it not the 2UZ? Why is it 1UZ to 3UZ from the previous gen?
because of the way Toyota, here we go. We should finally have this ready for. So for
Hooray!
because reasons, Lexus came out with their family of V8s, and it was the 1UZ, 2UZ, 3UZ, and the 1UZ is a 4-liter that came in both. Later years got variable cam control. Early ones did not. Similar to how early 1JZs, 2JZs came. Early ones came without VVTi. Later ones came with VVTi. But the 1UZ without VVTi was an okay engine from factory. And that,
Right.
and you can definitely throw boost at them, and they'll love it just the same. And it was a 4-liter engine, but when they added VVTi, it was 300 basically. 300 horsepower, 300 pound-foot of torque. And then the 2UZ, they literally lengthened the block so the stroke could be longer to get 4.6 to 4.7 liters out of it. The block was now cast iron as opposed to cast aluminum. And it was a truck engine. So that's where you see, that's the V8 that was up in the Lexus GX. What is it? That's the V8 that's been in there
Yeah.
for decades, like literally
Right.
decades. And and the head design, like everything of those engines, is actually very well designed. Whether it be 1, 2, or 3UZ, is because they use scissor gears with the cam, so it's dual overhead cam. But the way the scissor gear works in the middle, so it's in between. You have the front 2 pistons and the back 2 pistons. It sits in the middle, so you can make the cams closer together. So that means the heads aren't freaking enormous, i.e., Coyote, or the predecessor or the successor to these engines, the UR family of V8s, which are also very, very good. So, but then they came around with the 3UZ, which is a bored out. I'm not 100% sure if it was stroked, but it was definitely bored out version of the 1UZ. So the cylinder walls are thinner. So they don't.
Right.
So stock, they don't take to boost or to power like the 1UZs. But that being said, the 4.3 liter in this is if you're looking for an inexpensive way to get a great sounding V8 that you don't really need to do too much to make 350 horsepower and stuff it in a Miata or something like that, that's a perfect, because they're not being used for guys doing boosted builds and all this other stuff. They're going to be less expensive. So you can get a 4.3 3UZ engine for like $1,000, if that. And
I mean, that's pretty good.
yeah, and when they combined forces with Chip Foose and the Millens of Rod Millen, Pikes Peak, all that sort of fame, they did take the 3UZ and put that into an IS300 chassis with a Toyota Mark IV Supra 6-speed transmission, the Getrag, which is a good Getrag transmission as opposed to the Getrag in my Mustang. So, but these things...
Getrag makes good transmissions. Not all of them are good, though.
So this one looks to be in fairly decent shape. They've done the classic dealer thing of, hood looks a lot faded. But that could be because this was taken in like 0.5 megapixels.
It also could just be that the car was just washed and it doesn't have any like ceramic coating on it or anything resembling any water protection, and the water could just be like still half dry.
But basically, my biggest thing with this car, like the biggest concern I would have out of anything, is the electronics, because the running gear is going to be solid.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to have very low mileage for a 2003. I mean, it's 21 years old, so that's
But consider who bought these,
right? Yakuza.
or extremely old Floridians.
Right. So what I think you should do, Steve, is get the GT350 or the Hellcat that's behind it.
You can't argue with those. That Escalade in the background also looking very nice.
You have it.
I say get those.
You have the Miata as well. Look, if you're looking here's the thing. Should it be, if it was taken care of, is it going to be a good car? Is it going to last you a while? Is it not going to require a ton of maintenance or anything like that? Probably. The problem is with a 21-year-old car, that's a lot of time and a lot of history, right? Like, it could be good, it could be bad. Like, I would see what they have as far as service records, if anything at all. I mean, I will say this, just based, the headlight lenses would either need to be refreshed or replaced, because those are pitted. I'd want to look at the paint, because again, these pictures don't fill me with confidence. But the chrome seems to be in decent shape. So that's a good sign. On Lexuses of this era, the grills, the paint or whatever on the grill, if they're painted, likes to chip. So that's something I would look out for. If they'll allow you to see it on a rack and get up and underneath it, like, why can't they take... It takes effort to take this shitty of a picture.
Yeah, the paint is just faded. A good paint correction will fix that.
There are some little things, like, I don't know if this is just a reflection, but...
That looks like a reflection.
There's something there.
It looks like a post.
The back end of the passenger side door, something's going on here. That's not a reflection.
Yeah, that to me, that's probably a seal. That's either dangling or is just part of the normalcy of the car.
Like, it could be very well... Like, this right here is probably... Again, this is... Given the likely owner of this car, a golf bag has scratched the ever-living fuck out of this section of the bumper.
Yeah.
But, check for your usual things, rust, all that stuff. I mean, look, I could have sat here and told you to get a late 2010s Honda CRV, and yet somehow you found the one CRV in New Jersey that has issues. So... That's not a you thing. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's a you thing. What I am saying is that it's a it's inherent to used cars. There's always risk with used cars because you don't know who the owner was and all that other fun stuff. I mean, interior rips and tears, no sag, no real bad sag in the headliner, which
Yeah.
is a good sign. Um, you can pull the VIN, the 2000s. The fact that this still works is something of a small miracle because that was one of the first things to die in my Lexus 2002. It's just an older car, man. I mean, it's going to have older car woes. It's going to require some maintenance, more so. But it's also, I think, $8,000. No, it's a little over 7,000. Comes down to it, man. I would suggest going on, what's that site? Car Complaints, and seeing what the heck these things have as far as a um, known issues or issues people have had with them and stuff like that, because that'll give you a roadmap. I don't know this platform well enough. I know you can modify a GT500 supercharger to fit on one of these, but if you're running anything,
Whoa, really? Seriously?
well, isn't that the supercharger they modified to fit on the one in Speed Academy?
Oh, yeah. It's like is it, or was it the GT500 or was it like an Edelbrock one? Or are they one and the same?
It might have been Edelbrock. Either way, I know that you can add boost.
Either way, you
But
can.
here's the thing: you're not going to run anything over 5 to maybe 6 psi on this motor because, again, the cylinder walls are thin. It doesn't like It doesn't like
Yeah.
positive pressure. So
And look, let's be honest. This is not a performance car, nor will it ever be.
not with that attitude.
So if you want some extra power, cool, get some extra power out of it. Throw the supercharger on it and push some boost. But like if you're buying this car, buy it to do something Speed Academy did. Give it some suspension, give it some ride quality, give it cool wheels and good tires. It can still be fun, but like doesn't have a manual transmission. The transmission in it is logy because it's supposed to be like a luxury cruiser, right?
These
Make
were
it a cool luxury cruiser. That's what you can do to this.
This when Lexus brought the LS 430 over here, it sent all of the Germans into a just panic.
Yes,
Um,
because it's just a damn good car.
just a damn good car. Yeah.
Damn good car. Hell yeah, brother.
So, but I mean,
But
look,
yes, get it. Buy
let me
this.
put it to you this way: cars that old, it's hard to, with cars that old, this would be like we talked about last week, reliability, all this other stuff. This car is pretty up there because it's a pretty it's they were just built. There's an old adage, right? Like Germans design and engineer cars to be reliable, but they're a little too. I don't want to. Germanic's not the right descriptive phrase, but they're designed with maintaining with maintenance and people doing the right thing and all this other sort of stuff in mind. Whereas Japanese design their cars to be reliable, knowing that their owner ain't going to do shit to them. Like, that's the difference between German and Japanese reliability. So, go ahead, drive it if it's in budget. If it's not going to break the bank, there are worse options. Just, again, be careful because it's legally able to drink alcohol. That's how old it is.
Yes, it is.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I echo that. These are good cars. The only thing I would say to check on, or not to check on, but just to be wary of is it is a luxury car. And if you were to buy an equivalent Toyota from the same year, it's going to be slightly less to maintain. Whoa, we've got chat inception going on.
sorry.
No, all good.
Here's the thing. There is no Toyota equivalent. Like this
No, no,
isn't a
no, no.
fancy.
That's not what I
This isn't
mean.
a fancy Avalon. This was back when Lexuses were
No, I know.
Lexuses and Toyotas were Toyotas.
Yeah, no, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying an equivalent as in like, oh, it's an upgraded version of a Toyota something. I'm just saying, like, if you were to compare a $7,000 LS from 2003 and a $7,000 Camry from 2003, the Camry overall is going to be cheaper to maintain if they are the same reliability factor, because the Camry has cheaper parts. The LS has a lot, like you said, a lot more electronics, a lot more bells and whistles. It's also from a luxury brand, which inherently gives it a higher coefficient of money to component ratio, just because you're paying the luxury tax, if you will. So just take that in mind. It's the same thing with Volvo. You know, they are more expensive to maintain than a lot of people think they are. So it's the same thing with Lexus. It's like, well, it's a luxury car brand. You go to a Lexus dealer, you're gonna do that. Wrong account, Chad.
What? No, I was just checking. Greg, I apologize. I will be right back. Why don't
Yes.
you talk to chat about
So Steve,
things? I don't know. I can't be creative. Hold on. I'll be right back.
all good. So there's a whole whopping, let's see, 2 people on Facebook and 1 person on YouTube. Man, you guys are not on tonight. Steve, you're on. I see you. I see you, brother. But man, there's not a lot of people on tonight. Crazy. But that's okay. No big deal. We will persevere. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Wow. As soon as I said that, of course, 8 people show up on Facebook. Hello, everyone. Please talk, because the whole reason we do this is to talk to you. Get in chat. Talk cars. We're here to talk cars. What we're gonna do next, once Chad gets back, is we're going to do another rankings list. And that's what we're doing tonight. We did it last week. It's a lot of fun. We are doing rankings lists of random topics that Chad and I come up with. Anthony, what's up? Good to see you as well. So we got Steve. We had Andrew in here before. I hope he's still here. If not, it's all good. I'm talking, but you can't hear me. I sure hope not. That would be the craziest hack ever. But yeah, we're gonna do rankings list, and we're ranking different topics. So Chad's topic to me tonight, first topic was blindly rank these 5 British sports cars. And the cars were, in no order, Jaguar F-Type R, Aston Martin V8 Vantage from not the new generation, the Gaydon era, which is that 2006 to 2017 or something era. Forget which, but it's that era of V8 Vantage. Aston Martin DBS from that same era. Lotus Evora and Lotus Exige. So those were the cars, and I think I ranked them blindly, mind you. So remember, this is blind. As Aston Martin V8 Vantage, Jaguar F-Type R, Lotus Evora, Lotus Exige, and Aston Martin DBS, because I didn't know the DBS was coming, and I put it at 5. So unfortunately, I got that list wrong, because I would have put the DBS at 1. So the next one we're going to do, I have a list of topics, and it's an interesting one because I don't think it's one that Chad has a good answer for, and that's why I made this a topic. But if you were interested in watching these as little short snippets, we're also turning these conversations into short form reels, so you can go back and watch them like really quick. Anthony, I'll be in and out getting treated to dinner because I went and got her some wheels and did the brakes. Nice. Very nice. Good man. All good. But dude, if you need to go, go. You don't have to watch us. If you're getting treated to dinner, and if you're getting no, just kidding. If you are getting dinner and you are being treated to doing something nice for your significant other, you do not have to be here. I appreciate that, but you do not have to be here. Steve, yeah, Steve was doing what I was thinking. Hope you get dessert. Wink. Yep. So yeah, I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I have one list, and Chad has one more list. Ooh. Whoa, hello. What was that? Did you guys hear that? It was definitely a Mustang. The Coyote. I want to say that was a S550 GT. Hang on. Hold up. Yeah, 100%. Man, that's a pleasant surprise. That was really nice. Random S550 GT, the really good exhaust, just randomly popped through the neighborhood. Like that. Um yes, yours is better, Chad. If we're in the swinging contest, yes. Yours is better. Unacceptable. Have the phone on the table. Request the bar. Put us on. Go to YouTube. Yes, agree. Please go put us on. If you're at the bar, like, hey, we got these friends. Can you go put them on? It's on YouTube. Can you imagine? Like, hey, can you put the game on? No, no, no. Put this YouTube car podcast on in the bar and see how many people funnel out of the restaurant. That is a goal of mine. I would love to have enough clout that we get put on at a restaurant and we're the audio and we just talk to the whole bar. That would be cool. I would like it. I would like it. What would you so question for you guys based on that list. Oh, never mind, Chad's back. I will hold my question.
Fantastic.
So Chad, are you ready for your list?
Yes, hold on. I should actually record this so I don't have to rip it off of Facebook later.
Probably a good call.
So, well, hit me with it. I heard it's something I don't have answers to, which
well, I think you're gonna have answers to this, but I don't think you're gonna have a good answer because I don't think this is a topic that you would particularly go to or go for.
so they're all number 6. Moving on.
Yes, they're all French cars, so they
Fuck
are
that.
as far down. They are infinite. They are infinitely moving away from the number one spot.
If they're if they're
Always.
French cars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No. So, Chad,
Yes.
do me a favor and rank these exotic car brands that you would own to drive and only drive.
Only drive. Sounds
So,
like an automotive
yes.
paid subscription based.
Only drives. Yes, exactly. Patent pending, trademark. Don't steal that. The reason I ask this one is because so many people buy exotic cars should just let them sit. And that's it.
Well, I'll give you an answer. All of them. I would
had-
never buy a car just as art or
Correct.
as a commodity.
Right,
It's like,
exactly.
let me just
So
go in and
that's
start
why I
dealing
made it
with
like that.
Koenigsegg futures.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's why I said only drive. And I wanted to preface that mostly for the audience because I know you would drive them and I would drive them no matter what the price is. You know, oh, we buy a $75 million Ferrari GTO. We're going to drive that.
Or I just wouldn't
Gonna
buy it.
not sit there. Well, that also that. But if I had like $1 billion, I'd be like, yeah, I want to buy that, but I also want to know how it drives. And then I'm probably going to keep it and drive it some more because it's cool. The end. So, but these are manufacturers. See, these are exotic car brands that you would drive to only drive. So think about it as the brand as a whole.
Okay. Fantastic. Are you writing these down?
I am, yes. I have my phone.
Fantastic.
And
so
I
you'll
have
send
the list.
you'll send that to me after the show. But real quick before you get
Correct.
to the first option on the exotic car brands ranking list, Elliott, we'll get to some of those. Save those for after this segment, and then we'll hit them up. All right, cool. You go drive it off a cliff.
Yes.
I mean, sure, or just not buy one. Greg,
The exotic car brand list.
let me fix.
Yeah, all good. Sometimes these things happen. Thanks, Streamlabs.
No, it's a anytime there's a
Skype
shift
thing?
in bandwidth on Skype, center yourself.
Ah,
Uh, it downsizes, and this is supposed to
gotcha.
um, it's supposed to keep it whatever. All right, Greg, go.
Yes. So, first brand, McLaren.
All right, so McLaren is something interesting in our lifetime, right? Because they didn't really do street cars, and then they did the F1. Like that's like
Yep.
kudos.
Which was a '90s era car, not Formula One. The McLaren F1, just to be
Right,
clear
like
for those
they went
watching.
from not making so they were always like a consulting company or they worked in partnership. Case in point, the ASC McLaren Ford Capri, which is a Fox body, which is wild. And then but the first thing that was McLaren through and through, similar to how was the F1, except they were Toyota before Toyota knew what Toyota was, and it had a BMW
Right.
V12, but that V12 was specially developed for that car. So it's like
Right.
so. I like McLaren as a super hypercar manufacturer. That being said, like I'm just trying to think here of other exotic brands. You know what? I'm gonna put them at 2 because I do like a lot of their
Okay.
stuff. I do like a lot of their stuff. Some of their stuff not so much, but looking at it with some of the other exotic brands, there's more of them that I would want to own than say another mark.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I can't argue with that. McLaren at 2 is a good shout. They make amazing street cars that are all extremely well made and just very drivable, good sports cars, supercars, honestly. I mean, most of them, I don't even know if you can put them in the sports car category anymore. I think McLaren basically just makes supercars at this point. You could have made the case for the 570 being a sports car, but honestly, the 570 is sort of a like budget supercar.
Dude,
Even now,
we drove the GT variant, so not even the
yeah,
hot spicy version. And the way those
yep,
things pick up and the way
it's
those things come
wild.
up to speed and shed their speed is insanely impressive. And with now I understand from a maintenance or a reliability standpoint, like the active like hydraulic suspension is something of a thing or can be something of a thing, but I,
That was only on the
very
MV12 4C.
very few. Well, it's a complicated thing, right? It's not like, oh well, my car is kind of like the damper over here is harsh. Oh, it could be the hydraulic sway, but like there's so many. It's extremely complicated, which means if
Yeah,
something were to go wrong or you have an issue, you have a McLaren, so you can afford the service at a dealer, right? Like it's not like that sort of thing, but it's
yeah,
an annoyance. It could take forever for them to diagnose because there's so many different systems on those cars. But
yeah.
that said, when it comes to speed, thrill, sort of the look, McLarens are fast. They're a little understated with the exception. And I say understated only in the sense that some of these other they look like they were designed by a human apart from the Senna, right? Like there's some
Yeah,
flow to them. Where some
right.
other supercar or hypercar or exotic manufacturers, it, they had Chat GPT design the car for them.
Yeah,
Like so, and I always liked that about McLaren.
yeah. Okay, good. McLaren at 2. Sounds good. I'm just writing that down. Cool. McLaren at 2. Number 2 on the list, but not number 2 in our hearts because McLaren's there. Bugatti.
So here's the thing with Bugatti, right? Um,
They are technically French, which is something you don't like,
no, and here
but it's Bugatti. different story.
Well, here's the thing. So if you look at Bugatti as a company, right? Like they've always made these exorbitant, elaborate, just insane vehicles, regardless of era. That said,
Yeah,
old man Bugatti himself arguably was a bigger asshole than Enzo Ferrari.
that's not. I mean, you're not wrong. You're
Like
not wrong.
the whole reason Bugatti is French but sounds Italian is because he didn't. He was a spoiled kid who got mad at his parents, so he started identifying as French. You know, moved to France, all this other stuff, and then he famously would
Mm-hmm.
invite you, the prospective buyer, to dinner, and if he didn't like your table manners, you couldn't buy the car. And all that
Yep.
stuff. It's the same basic thing as you buy a Ferrari, but only if Ferrari lets you buy a Ferrari. So you can buy some of the lower end Ferraris, and there's no such thing as a low end Ferrari. But the, you know, your 430s, you know, you're the entry level Ferraris, so to speak. But if you want to get something that's special, you have to have approval from Ferrari. And even if you get any Ferrari and you want to say modify it or you want to do something different or put your own wrap on it or something, Ferrari can sit here and send you a letter being like, stop that or we'll take legal action against you. I hate that sort of
Right.
shit. Now, onto
Yeah.
modern. So, like, old school Bugattis don't do anything for me. Even like, what is
Yeah.
it, the EB 111 or 112 or whatever it is, the
EB 110.
the one that
Yep.
crazy car,
The 90s one.
quad turbo V12. Like, one thing you have to hand it to Bugatti is they don't do normal when it comes to engines, which you have to give them credit for.
No.
But like even like the old school Bugattis, even into the new ones like the Veyron, the Chiron, the Super Sports, the yada yada yada, they don't do it for me at all. Like the
Mm.
new Bugatti V16 sounds incredible. Probably going to be put in an extremely heavy for a hypercar chassis that is excessively luxurious. For me, once you hit a certain level of luxury, everything else is just cock extensions. So when Bugatti
Right.
makes this lavish interior, it's just, yeah, I get it, but it almost, okay, this is how you justify charging 2.5 million for your car as opposed to just 1.5, right? Like all this other sort of stuff. Like none of their
Yeah.
engines are cool. The cars themselves don't speak to me. Uh, you couple in their history, and like, there's not a Bugatti that I want. Like if I was to look at like a Veyron, I'd be like, cool. Only value it has to me is as a commodity, and I don't do commodities when it comes to cars. So 5,
Right.
like they're 5.
I mean, I can't. I I really can't argue with that. That's a good. I mean, the rationale is good. I mean,
They're not fun.
I would probably put
They're not fun. Like, um, like you could take, even like we were talking about Lotuses earlier. You could take a Lotus on a back road and have a ton of fun, and the fun in a Bugatti is pure, unleashed, unhindered speed, which you will never be able to use, nor should you on a public road. Not that any of
right.
these manufacturers you can use that to their full potential on a public road safely, and definitely not legally. But
Right.
when your party trick is top speed, I don't know. They're just too limited. So, like I said, I'm
Yeah.
putting them at 5.
Yeah, I don't really have an argument for against you, honestly. I think fun is the only argument I could make against you in that sense of like fun is subjective to certain people. The unadulterated speed is maybe what someone wants, and they think that's fun as opposed to be going on a back road blast. You know, as the ultimate speed highway cruiser, a Bugatti Chiron is very hard to argue against. So, that's maybe a person's fun, if you will. Um, as a car to own and drive, it's tough because Bugatti is such a brand steeped in opulence and exclusivity, but not in the sense of other car manufacturers that, like, have the latest technology and stuff like that. Like if you look at a Veyron and you look at a Chiron and you look at what's the new one that just came out, the Tourbillon, none of them have screens because they make their cars to be modern but timeless, which I respect the hell out of. But again, like they're not drivers' cars. They do drive well. I've never driven one, obviously, but they obviously drive well, or people wouldn't buy them if they just were expensive and didn't and then drove like crap. Like people people have money, sure, but like more people have money with like I want to drive this thing and actually enjoy it, I think, than just buying it for the sake of buying it. I'm also not in that price bracket, so I could be completely wrong. But either way, I think I agree with you on that one. Without giving too much away about the rest of the list, I would probably say I would put on this list of what I'd see here. I'd probably put them at 5 too, honestly. So I think that's actually spot on.
There's just an element to all of. Let's face it, all of these manufacturers that you are going to put on this list are cock extensions. The 99
exactly, because they're all
99.99999% of all of these owners are using it for some sort of measuring contest at the country club, at the Freemason meeting, whatever. So,
yeah.
so like, you know, it's just like so this will give some insight as to the future or my reasoning for this list and everything, or where I put stuff on this list is to me the best versions of all of the exotic manufacturers cars are the cars they take racing. And that's why like I do think that IMSA kind of hit the nail on the or not IMSA, but IMSA and the FIA and the ACO hit the nail on the head with the hypercar class, where you could technically take a street car and make it into a Le Mans prototype, which I think is epic. And you're going to see that next year with the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Granted, a highly modified Valkyrie, but the Valkyrie is going to be racing in the hypercar class at Le Mans, which I think is insane. Because could you imagine if we had a class of car or a class of racing series that put the 918, the P1, the LaFerrari, insert Koenigsegg here, insert Pagani here. Could you imagine that? Could you how
I can.
epic that would be? But none of them race. So now you have, you know, your 911 GT3 RSs, your Ferrari, whatever the fuck is that class right now. You know, versus Aston Martin versus Lamborghini versus all these things. Like, it's just, that's cool because it literally, don't get me wrong, I love prototype racing. I love the tech involved. I love all that stuff. But there is something special. Like, I think there was something missed when I think sports car racing was at its best was when the GT1 class was around, because you had these cars that are going stupid fast that there were street versions of. Granted, it got convoluted and you only had to make two, right? Like, but McLaren comes along with the F1. They basically were pumping F1s out like they were Corollas compared to like the Toyota, the Nissan, etc., the Mercedes, you know, and they won. So like that sort of thing. So like when I look at those are the types of cars that I would even think about, because it's hard for me to wrap my brain around driving a crazy high end car when tires cost $20,000. Like, even if this scenario, I am a billionaire and $20,000 is something I find in the couch cushions, I'm not there, so my brain doesn't.
Yeah, we have no frame of reference for that.
You know.
Cool. So to recap, McLaren at 2, Bugatti at 5. Speaking of the Italians, Ferrari is the third on this list.
Nothing Ferrari.
4. Ooh.
There's no. Yeah. You know, there's a couple cool Ferraris. I think it's the 288 GTO that I really, really like.
Mm-hmm. That's a greatest hit.
I really like that. I've always kind of wanted to play around with the 355 because apparently those engines are actually not the Ferrari engines aren't inherently strong, but like those engines are strong and can tolerate some boost, so it'd be a fun engine to play around with. But
Hmm.
after the 458, Ferrari ceased to make, in my opinion, really they got away from being they went away from being Italian. You
Wow.
know, because there's no Italian was always known. When you think Italian cars, there's performance, there's sound, there's theater, there's a sense of occasion. You know, there's almost a sense of making something that's stylish, functional, as opposed to the other way around. And I think most modern Ferraris now are function trying to be stylish. Because look at the bodies on. There's fins, there's holes, there's things, and you could tell that it's a very Germanic way of looking at it and being, okay, this will increase downforce. This will. It's like, it's making. You know, they've lost that sense of style. Like Ferraris used to be something to behold, something to look at. And then, wouldn't you know, they drove really, really good. Um, and now that it's just not the case. You could tell it's engineering first, style second. You know, as opposed to
Hmm.
Enzo Ferrari when he was in charge. Well, first of all, Enzo could give a flying fuck about street cars. It was a necessary
Oh
evil to
yeah.
him to finance the race teams, which you kind of
Yeah.
have to like and respect. If he also wasn't a colossal asshole. Um,
Sure.
but Ferrari is, especially modern, doesn't doesn't do
Mm.
anything for me.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I tend to agree with you that anything after the 458 is kind of meh. I don't. I meh Ferrari now. The 458 I think is peak Ferrari. I'm with you. Um, I don't. I have no notes.
There's a reason
Anything? Yeah.
there's a reason why Chevy blatantly copied it.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
to Elliott's point, yeah, the Roma looks really good and like all this, but like even from
I
a
don't even think the Roma looks good.
it, well, it looks really really good until you see the radar pod that's off center in the front of it. And if
Hmm.
I'm remembering correctly, it fell into the trap that Volkswagen has now announced they are getting away from of haptic buttons. One of which is the start button. The it's
So annoying.
the start button isn't even a physical button anymore. So,
That's obnoxious.
like, again, it's tech for tech's sake as opposed to, yeah, we still have a button, but there's a like that's and I'm not gonna sit here and say my Mustang is anywhere near the vehicle that a Roma is, right? Like they're just two different types of vehicles, two different tech bases, right? But the
Yeah.
button, the start button in my Mustang is, I believe, I'm a
A button.
well, it's not just a button. It's like a machined piece of aluminum.
Yeah. Right. It's not a piece of plastic like my car is.
You know, it just that little bit. And your Ferrari, you could have made it this nice piece, and you didn't. You made it
Yeah.
so.
Well,
You know,
in that same vein, and staying within the boot, Lamborghini is number 4 on the list. Not in your list of ranking, but Lamborghini is next. So
so here's the
if you
thing.
have
So here's the thing.
McLaren at 2, Bugatti at 5, Ferrari at 4, where does Lamborghini land?
So Lamborghini, here's the weird thing. They were bought by Germans, but their cars aren't Germanic, at least appearance. There's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, everybody says that their first version, the Murcielago, right? Like it was very toned down, right? It was smooth lines, so it was like, oh, this is an outlandish like a Countach or a Diablo or anything like that. But then they slowly then the SV came along and all these things, and once you started adding wings and some aero bits to it, it was a Lambo. It's hard to beat that V12 that V12 that they developed in the 60s and used up until the Aventador.
Yep.
You know, the
Just
Aventador,
refining and refining.
the mirror, you could go back, like, but here's the other thing. You know, Lamborghini made the Miura. But here's a very, very, you want to talk hot takes, Elliott? Here we go. I was never, everybody talks about the poster car, and the ultimate pinup was the Countach.
The Countach.
I
Yeah.
didn't do anything for me. It was just too much. Like, there's just too much going on. Like, you have the fact that the wing originally didn't do wing things except not do downforce.
Wingdings?
Wingdings, hashtag new shirt. Wing things. The new Shifting Lanes Garage font coming to a word near you.
Dude, that's actually a great shirt. It says hashtag wing things, and it just has like a big old STI park bench.
Yeah. So
It's actually a great
but
t-shirt.
I will sit here and say, with, you look at things now like the Huracan, the Aventador.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to talk about the Urus because, frankly, that's just like every other mid-size
Literally
three-row
just
SUV.
an Audi.
Yeah, for 3 times, or for doubled, if not 3 times the price.
It's actually 4 times. I looked it up the other day because I've been seeing this Urus drive around where I'm living a couple of times. I'm like, how much are those things, dude? They are $400,000,
Which is insane.
It is literally just an Audi SQ8. It's all.
Yeah,
it is.
which is basically a
And
fancy,
they're in the
which is a
hundreds.
fancy whatever the heck the big Volkswagen SUV is.
The Atlas.
Yeah, like, look,
Yeah, it's
so
dumb.
Lamborghini. I like their newer stuff, but I like their newer stuff. The thing of it is, here's the other thing with Lambo. People are boosting the hell out of those V10s. Like daily driven exotics. The first thing they do is slap a supercharger on it. Right? Like,
Oh yeah. VF Engineering, baby.
right on. Like, they're cool cars. It's just almost, I don't know what the thing is, but here's the thing. I could see myself buying like a Huracan, or even the Huracan replacement, because even though it's not a V10, it is a pretty decent sounding twin turbo V8. And one of the things I've always liked is when you put a growling V8 in the middle for mid-engine. Like, you have those cross-plane V8s, and there's a mid-engine car, there's a flat-plane crank V8, the sound matches the appearance. When there's that disconnect, that slight disconnect, I like it. But
Which is why you've always liked the Audi R8 V8 better than the V10.
right, and also, but then you have but then I think the Revolto is a massive miss. It looked like they had a car and they're like, oh, it's not Lamborghini enough, and then they tried to Lamborghini it up, and it's having issue after issue after recall after recall after issue. Right now, it's not gone well for them at all. So this is a tough one, but I think, Lamborghini, it's a tough one because there's some stuff I like, there's some stuff I don't like. But for the sake of a blind list and the fact that I don't know what's coming next, I default to the fact that I always will have undying respect and admiration for Lamborghini because of their origin story, because it was just old man Lamborghini saying F you to Enzo. And that has so much, to just start something that is still around today, even though it's gone through 9.7 trillion different owners. To have something like that, to start something out of spite and have it last the test of time, is big for me. So and out of fear of putting something that is a wild card and something I do not like at number 1, I'm going to put Lambo at number 1.
Ooh. Interesting.
And an argument could be made that the brand that defines supercar or hypercar or exotic car the best is Lamborghini.
I mean, right now, I would say exotic car Lamborghini is probably one or two. I'd say it's probably one or two. Um, Unfortunately for you, the last one is something that you should have put at number one, and it is Koenigsegg.
I had a feeling you were going to go that route, but I didn't. But here's the thing.
What I was gonna wait. What I was gonna do is gonna put something like totally obscure.
Well, that's what
on the
I
last
was
one.
thinking
Like,
because
I was-
based on last week's
yeah, and I knew you were
based
going
on
to.
last week's show, I had a
Yes.
feeling that something weird was coming, and I would rather have Lamborghini 1, McLaren 2, Koenigsegg 3 than have Venturi 1, McLaren 2, Lamborghini 3.
Yeah, what's Venturi?
They're French, if you can believe it. And they made
Oh, did they make the V16? The that thing?
they made a bunch of
The
different
Cizetta?
things. They tried to be Porsche, so make a mid-end or rear-engine car. And it turns out when you're not
Yeah.
German or stubborn or doing it for literally 8 decades, you can't,
Yeah.
but like that was the thing.
I
So
was-
like, is Koenigsegg at the top of this list for me? If I had all of them in front of me, yes. Am I okay
course
with
it
them
is.
being at 3 for the sake of something again, I thought you were going to pull a fast one. You didn't. So it's okay. Look, here's the thing about Koenigsegg, right? Like, and here's why. All right, so here's the
Well, wait, hang on. Before you get into that, I kind of wanted to. I have the list here of like the other things that I had. So this is because of last week's list. I'm like, no, I should make this like a straight up thing because last week was weird. So I had Celine
okay.
as one of them because obscure. Basically, almost nobody knows what that is.
God, I would.
What's the company that did
I
that?
would do horrible things
I-
for an S7.
I know the S7's pretty sick. What is the company that did the Tuatara?
Oh,
Like SSC or
yeah,
something like that?
Shelby supercars. It's like what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's something weird, but it was like I just put down Tuatara, but I was gonna look up the company name and be like that one. And then I thought of like weird one-off things. Like I was honestly gonna put like Shelby because they did like the Shelby what was that, the Shelby Series 1,
Oh,
which was technically like it was supposed to be like the Shelby hypercar or something like
no,
that.
the series.
But
The
it was-
series 1 was a modern interpretation of the Cobra with a
modern
V10.
Cobra. Yeah. Yeah, but I was gonna do something weird like that. But then I'm like, no, let's make this like an actual exotics list. So that's why I was like, nope, let's default to Koenigsegg. Let's do that. I was also thinking of putting like, Nimac or Rimac on there to put like throw an EV in there because they're ridiculous. Like the Rimac Tavera is insane. Plus Mate Rimac owns Bugatti, so I thought that was an interesting tie-in to like Bugatti on the list.
And they're
So
not going to be. They're
it
not
was-
going
it
to
was
be.
sort of in that.
They're
like,
not going to be strictly EV for long. Just.
No, correct. Yes. I mean,
But here's the
Mate
thing.
Rimac
Rimac.
owns most of
Here's
Bugatti,
the
and they
thing,
just
right,
put a
the
V16.
Here's the thing. That would have really irked me because Rimac would be 6. Two.
Right.
would be the-
But that's why I was like,
Because-
no, let's not screw with Chad. Let's make this an actual.
And I was a
list.
little worried about that, which is why I wanted to leave 3 open because it's like, all right, if my bottom 3 are Rimac, Ferrari, and Bugatti, I can live with that.
Right. Yeah, but yeah.
And
so
here's
Koenigsegg at number 3.
Here's an argument for Koenigsegg being at 3. Look, are their cars gorgeous? Yes. Are their cars just incredible feats of engineering? Yes. And that combination cannot be ignored. To look that good and to be that well engineered is a massive W for Koenigsegg.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at all the other exotics here, right? They don't have a 458. They don't have a crap. We were just talking about a V10 Lambo, like a Gallardo or what have you. They don't have,
True.
that car in their resume, which, okay, if we're talking like the ultra elitist of the rich, sure. But they're not, that is the missing link. Because I'm just sitting here thinking, like, imagine if you told Christian von Koenigsegg, make something to take down the Porsche GT3 RS. Like, make something to be. Can you imagine how unbelievably epic that would be?
Yeah. And not in
Um,
the hypercar sense. Like he would create the greatest sports car that has ever been conceived.
like you said, okay, it has to sell for no more than $250,000, which I know is a lot of money, but it's basically what
But
these
that's the
are.
GT3 RS range.
Imagine Koenigsegg in the GT class at Le Mans. Like, that's the
That'd
stuff.
be
Like,
wild.
but that's a big hole in their portfolio. Not to say that their business isn't booming, because it is. Like, there's like they,
Right.
it's like, we don't have to build as many cars, and we can make as much money as all these other people, huh?
Deal.
Like, the Swedes are intelligent. Who knew? Um, or just, I would love to like sit here and like have like not a kit car or something, but like even be like, all right, today on Shifting Lanes Garage, we are building a supercar slaying kit car, but we have a partner. And like in strolls Christian von Koenigsegg, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna take that 5-cylinder white block over there. I'll be back in 3 months. And like,
Yeah. Which would be wild.
so it's no, I mean, look, like, I will always love Koenigsegg as long as they continue to make beautifully engineered things, just because of the fact that before we were even a quarter of what we are now on YouTube, social media, etc., he took a half hour out of his life to talk to us.
Right.
He could have very easily said, okay, nice talking to you, I gotta go. But he sat there and he talked to us. Koenigsegg as a company liked that live video we did on Facebook and shared it.
Mm-hmm.
I still
Yep.
remember like looking at like, why does this thing have so many views as we're driving home from the show? And like just
Yeah, it
the,
was so
the
random. It's so
excitement.
cool.
So like, it'll always have a special place in my heart. Do the unique rules of these lists, 3, at least, let me put it to you this way, at least they're ahead of Bugatti and Ferrari, which is kind of what I was trying to protect against.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I mean, hey, look, I think pretty good job on that, honestly. If I were ranking these, I'd say Koenigsegg 1. I would keep McLaren at 2 because reliability aside, I feel like McLarens are a better driver's car than both Lamborghini and Ferrari. I would put Lamborghini at 3. I'd put Ferrari at 4 and Bugatti at 5. So I don't think you're too far off, quite frankly. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think you're pretty on, honestly,
You know.
pretty close. With that said, your turn to entertain. I shall be right back.
All right. Let's just. And for this moment of entertainment, we're just going to look at Greg's Polestar. Anywho, let's see here. Let's go through. Let's just go back through chat. It's no EV. Car companies have to realize that EVs can do that stuff. Sean wants a Lambo tractor. Shocking. Steve goes, when you talk about Lambo, all I care is the Countach. I had that poster on my wall. A lot of people did. It was a massive W for Lamborghini. Not my cup of tea. And that's fine. Like, you can love it. I cannot. That's car culture. You're not wrong for feeling like liking it, etc. Vic asked, what about the Revelto? We did talk about that. Personally, I don't like the look of it. That's just me. Secondly, that thing apparently is having massive reliability slash I don't want to design issues is the word, but system issues. The recalls and stuff on that thing are actually kind of through the roof. So it's very, very worrying because the V12 Lambo is supposed to be their Halo car. And if they didn't get that right, what does that mean for the Huracan replacement and so on? So, like, it's pretty worrying for Lambo, if I'm being honest. So we'll see with that. Vic also said there's a Porsche tractor. Pretty sure there's a Porsche everything. I mean, just the way that the original thought, like, Porsche was almost in its original state very similar to like a Lotus in that they were very simple cars and they were extremely light cars, which, much like Lotuses of the same era, proved to be unfortunately fatal for a lot of people. So take that with what you will. Sean goes, Koenigsegg is the hold my beer of supercars. I mean, they really are, but it's probably a little bit fancier, kind of. I mean, the level at which Koenigsegg engineers stuff, like, is just out of this world. You know, from the camless engine to the 3-cylinder that they developed to, you know, the power they get out of the V8s, the fact that they managed to make a hybrid hypercar without a transmission work seamlessly between electric power and internal combustion power. Like, not that that's my be all end all cup of tea, but the level of engineering required to do something like that is pretty freaking insane. You know, and the ability to have parts to where you can slip a clutch on a, you know, nasty turbocharged V8 engine like that and have those parts last is truly bonkers, in my opinion. They're just Koenigsegg. To me, Koenigsegg's on another level compared to everyone else. You know, it's, you look at a Koenigsegg and it almost makes a Ferrari look common, as insane as that is to say. Like, that's just the level of which they're engineering things and designing things and their aesthetic and everything like that. Let's see here. We have Vic. What about Rimac? I think we talked about that moments after your comment, so hopefully you got that. Sean goes, Caterham, power alone, they are technically supercars. I think you mean power to weight, because they're not exactly powerful. I mean, yeah, but can you technically call anything you can build yourself a supercar? I mean, I guess maybe, because what is it, the GT something or other Factory 5, they call the supercar. I mean, here's the thing. If you look at the definition of supercar, right? You know, which is a car that's designed to be, you know, faster than the normal car, not as practical as the normal car, was designed with speed in mind. I would make the argument that things like the TRX and the Raptor are supercars just designed for a different purpose. But they're designed to be fast. They sacrifice practicality because, frankly, they're harder to get into. The tow rating isn't as good. All that other sort of stuff. So, you know, Caterham, I mean, I guess it's just, I don't know. Would you consider the Lotus 7, at which they're based upon, a supercar from back in the day? I don't know. Let's see here. Two more. Vic, I saw there was a Porsche commercial where the Porsche tractor goes in for service to the dealership, and the dealership have the part. So he drove in and got a Carrera as a loaner. I mean, I'm willing to bet that tractor, though, is pretty expensive. Just going to say that. And let's see here. Sean goes, Koenigsegg is what happens when you give an automotive engineers no budget and don't tell them no. I mean, here's the thing. The second half of that I agree with. It's like come up with unique ideas that aren't unique for unique's sake, right? Like, so there's a thing you could be very creative, right? Like it's like let's make a V7 engine, and it's going to be unique. It's crazy. It's going to make an odd blah, blah, blah. But is it the best tool for the job, or is it designed to like the transmission they developed in I forget what it was, but it's a dual clutch that also acts like a manual, right? Well, there's a bunch of people who sit here and say I want a manual transmission. So they develop something like that. That's the thing. And it's like as far as budget, I'm willing to bet. I mean, it might be ridiculous, but you're not as successful as a business as Koenigsegg is if you don't have budgets. That being said, they're smart about it, right? It's like, hey, we have this new transmission idea. Hey, we have this new engine idea. Hey, we're gonna reinvent the turbo, or whatever. It's
Yeah, it sounds like a thing that they would do.
but there's purpose behind it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like
Yeah.
you know you could design with enough engineering. I mean, let's face it. They made a VR5, which is technically a V5. You know,
Which is crazy.
so like theoretically, you could make a V out of any number. What is it? A V5 was one of the most successful motorcycle engines in MotoGP and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like, but its purpose. I think it was. I forget I made a reel about it, and then like so many things. I did the research. I was like, this is cool. I should remember this, and then just remembered that it existed, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I do have one more list for Greg. But Elliott Manning, if you're still in chat, hit us with those automotive hot takes, because my dog is continuing to be a jackass. So Greg is going to have to carry the torch for a moment here.
All good. Go for dog jackassing. Um, Also, Vic, I appreciate you being on both YouTube and Facebook. That is that is just dedication, man. I appreciate that. You're a real one. Being on both sides of it. Um, so yeah, Elliot, if you're still around on Facebook, what are your automotive hot takes? Because I'm really curious about those. Excuse me. I am extremely tired. I've had maybe 5 hours of sleep each of the last 3 nights in succession. So I'm especially tired for this stream. But soldiering on for you guys. We're here. Facebook is being on crack. Vic says, yeah, well, so is everyone's because Facebook. Let's see. Roundabouts are awesome and necessary. That's not a hot take. That's just literally a fact of life. Roundabouts are normal. They should be, and they are glorious. They are so much better than every single normal four-way traffic intersection. And I say this as someone who lives in New Jersey with a couple of them around me. They are very easy to navigate if you know how to drive. The unfortunate thing is 99% of people don't know how to drive. Automotive enthusiasts love roundabouts because they are great, and people that are automotive enthusiasts know how to navigate them because they're super easy. And Elliot says people hate them though. Yes, because people are dumb. A person is very smart. People are dumb. Automotive enthusiasts usually pretty smart as far as that kind of thing is concerned. People that are commuters, morons. No one knows how to drive. So no one knows how to navigate a circle or roundabout. So with that said, that's not really a hot take to me. That's just a fact of life. Anthony, shut up. Roundabouts are great. They're so easy. They make things so much easier. Traffic flows perfectly normally. Ford Capri looks like Polestar too. Yeah, I saw the Ford came out with a Capri. Okay, sorry. So tired. Yeah, Ford came out, they resurrected the Capri badge. And the craziest thing, it's actually not a Ford because they have their own platform with the Mustang Mach-E. The Capri sits on the VW MGB or MBG platform that is underpinning the ID4 and ID5. It's literally just a Volkswagen from the underpinnings, which is hilarious. Like, why? Why? You have your own platform. Use that. I don't understand. You have a skateboard. Why use a different skateboard? I'm so confused by that. But yes, it does look a little like a Polestar 2. I would say the Polestar 2 looks better. Just because. Um, yeah, exactly. It's a VW ID4. I think ID5 is also coming out and has the same platform. But yeah, it's literally just an ID4 with Ford stuff. Cool. It's it's so dumb. Like there's a lot of MEB platform. Thank you. Yes, MEB. Like what? Why are we doing so much cross-pollinating like this? I understand the cross-pollination for Toyota with the Supra and the BMW engine and BMW components. Sure, I get that. To be able to bring a sports car to market, sometimes you got to do that. But like, you have your own platform for electrification. Why are you not just using that? That's super confusing to me. Why do you have to use Volkswagen's platform? And also, why are you paying Volkswagen to give them your platform? That's so strange. I don't understand that at all. I don't. I just don't. Steve, later. Thanks for hanging, man. We'll catch you next week, dude. Get some sleep. Go forward. Do work. Avoid evil. Be good. Uh yeah, like I don't understand. Like I, I don't know. I don't have anything more to say that. I'm just gonna keep repeating it. I don't understand the mindset. I'm sure there's business people that are businessing somewhere, and there's business acumen that I'm unaware of that is way above my pay grade at other automotive manufacturers. Why? You have your own platform. Just use that. It's so confusing. Or don't make an EV. Like that's the other thing. The Ford Capri, it used to be a not a crossover. Just saying, you killed off the Taurus, you killed off the Focus, you killed off a whole bunch of other cars. Why not just make a car? There aren't many left. Probably would sell well. Probably not going to sell a lot of those. The new Capri with the Volkswagen underpinnings. Doesn't take a master genius to like put two and two together there. I don't really I don't follow the logic. It doesn't make sense to me. Make it make sense. I don't have the making sense gene in that respect. Sean goes, I want to see Volvo make a practical supercar. I mean, yes, that would be awesome. Would love to see that. Um, and Polestar sort of is because they have the Polestar O2 concept that they're actually making. It is an EV, sure, but it is drop dead gorgeous. It's an EV, so it's going to be stupid fast. And it is a Volvo derived subsidiary, so it's going to have a little bit of practicality, I would imagine. I think the concept had like a deployable drone that you could actually like go video things with. That of course won't come on the actual car, but like that's pretty sweet. Um, I would love to see Volvo make a practical supercar. Probably won't happen though. Hello, Chad. Welcome back from Dog Things.
Yeah. Dude.
All
I
right,
like
let's do this
I
list.
walked outside and like I could feel like on any like hard surface, like my phone or my lighter or something like that, just immediately moisture. It was just like,
Oh yeah. So so when I set up tonight, and when I so I don't know who's watching, but I'll turn my camera around so everyone can I see really quick. So this is my setup here. I'm in my garage. Ooh, can I do this? There we go. So I basically, hi, there's Chad. Look at him. It's gonna be Chad Inception for a second. So basically, I just have my laptop here. I got my mic. I got other computer here. But everything I brought out, literally everything, uh, both computers, camera, phone, all of it was right next to an air conditioning vent. And then I brought it all outside, and all of it just got disgusting in my hands. And I'm like, this is wretched.
that's not
I
good
can't
because you know what fine
touch this.
electronics don't like? Moisture.
No, but it wasn't like moisture in the sense of just like, not like this. Like you can see like beads of sweat on the cup. It wasn't that. It just got this fine layer of dust and humidity mist. It was it was it was disgusting. It really was. It was super gross. And I'm like, ew. Just super ew.
Ah,
But that happens.
Greg and the moistness. You can't get away from it.
Oh God. Sorry. 1 second. I'll be right back. Then we're gonna do this list, and then we'll close. But
Alrighty.
yeah, sorry. 1 second. Kid things. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Alrighty. Vic's Facebook's on crack. I didn't buy my first manual. I did buy my. Oh, Sean did his first manual donut today. Well done, sir. Took you long enough. A little disappointed, but you know you're here. Let's see here. Vic, hot take Ford Capri looks like a Polestar 2. I can kind of see that. Let's see here. Anthony fantasizes about taking the backhoe out and deleting the roundabouts. The fact that circles are still a thing in this day and age, like, I remember, so there used to be more of them, and I remember there was a big project in a couple towns over that deleted one of the circles there, but then one of the biggest ones within like an hour of me, like doubled down and like completely redid it, and it's like, none of this makes sense to like normal people, so like it's just pure chaos because no, there's so few and far between that the average driver sucks. You throw that into the it's just chaos. Andrew goes, my cousin got a P3 Volvo S60 T5. Nice. Steve, thanks for watching, brother. The practical supercar. I mean, here's the thing. If Volvo does make a practical supercar, it's probably going to be electric. And at that point, wouldn't you just rather do the 5-cylinder swap on a Fiero, like you said, or even like an MR2 or something like that, and sort of make your own Volvo supercar? Anthony goes, I want to see Volvo make a luxury pickup. Now, that's something I think they kicked around, but I mean, everybody's kind of doing it. It's just one of those things where the pickup truck market is so hard to get into, and is, you know, you sit in a Ram, the top of the line Ram, and it's very well done. It's a very nice place to be, you know, and the people who want pickups versus the people who want Volvos are very different people, or they're not willing to shell out $60,000 to $80,000 for a Volvo truck, even though Volvo has a history of trucks, like, you know, or semis, I guess, whatever. But yeah, I mean, would it be cool? Yes. I think they should do something along the lines of like a Santa Cruz or a Maverick. So take an existing crossover and delete some of it and make a bed out of it. I think that'd be pretty cool. Would people buy it? That's another thing entirely. Sean goes, we just need to make Coke legal and socially acceptable in the work environment long enough for the auto industry to party. Here's the thing with that. That'd be great and all, right up into the. Let's just put it this way, right? Like, if someone came along and it's like they were definitely bumping lines when they designed this car, and it's successful from a business standpoint. I'm sure you'd have people follow suit. Uh, I think you're going to see some of that as EVs become more prevalent, in that the return to coach building, in that someone's going to take a skateboard that's originally designed for a crossover or a family car or whatever and put some insane body on it. That's kind of the thing. I think that's as close as you're going to get to it. Um, uh, Anthony, that's shifting laneception, moist keyboard. Yeah, all the things Greg loves. Keith, two sexy guys talking about cars. Nice. Thank you. To those of you who were last week or weren't here last week, Keith started his own YouTube channel. It's called Wheels and Whiskey. And he just dropped his second video. They're very well done. You should absolutely go check it out. Let's see here. Do I have a link? Yes, I do have a link handy.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Really? Thank you, iPhone. Okay. Let's see here. Let's just throw this in. Let's throw this in. I love how every time I go to comment on a Shifting Lanes live thing, it's like the community standards. Like, yeah, I wrote them. Fucking heck. But yeah, there's a Facebook link to the video in question. Definitely go check it out. Let's see here. Back to the Volvo pickup. Anthony goes, Volvo semi-owners would very much be into it. I mean, I think look, I could bet you could make a case that people are very much into a manual, simple sports car. And it's still a niche, right? Like so it's like one of those things, right, where like the internet, people are like yelling at manufacturers, make this and make it a manual and we'll buy it, blah 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 blah. And then the harsh reality hits of the people who are saying that can't afford what they actually want, so they don't buy them. So like, look, I don't think it's a big risk, like you said, to call it like a lifestyle pickup. I don't think it's a big risk because it's an existing platform, so like the engineering expense doesn't have to be crazy high. It's definitely something I want to see him try. Let's just face it. Like, I think it would be a win, but there's a reason why I talk about cars and not run a car company. Take that for what it is. It's worth.
List time. Ready, go.
Okay. Sean, thanks for watching, man. We'll see you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining. As always.
Put the Starlink not under a tree next week. At any rate. Alrighty. So, I think we'll hit this list. I think it's a good thing here. But, alrighty. So, Greg, how you doing?
Good. I have my inquisitive face going.
Inquisitive face. Rank these 5 American muscle cars blindly. I feel like this American muscle cars are to you what the hypercar conversation was to me. I feel like it's something you respect.
Maybe.
But it's not really something that's your main vibe. If that's...
I don't know. Maybe. You may be surprised. Let's see what happens.
So, we're going to hit you right off of the bat with the Pontiac GTO Judge.
The Pontiac GTO Judge 5. I don't like that car. I never have. I never will. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with the Dukes of Hazzard. It has nothing to do with... I know, I'm just kidding. It has nothing. No, it has nothing to do with... it has nothing to do with anything. I just don't like the car, period. You're muted.
You're muted.
I'm not. Light.
That has no bearing on what they can hear. I mean, look, I get it. When you're talking like the pantheon of muscle cars, it's definitely very cool. It has a cool spot place in it. But like so many things, and I think stop resizing yourself.
Yeah, but
Transform. Fit to screen. Transform. Now you're bigger than ever. There we go. I mean, I can respect that. I mean, it's not my favorite muscle car, so I can see how wouldn't be yours. Second option, Boss 429. The car they literally had to re-engineer the front after making it to fit the engine in.
well, just because of that fact alone, it's going at 2 because I feel like there's no more hot rodder thing than that. Because what is hot rodding at its core, right? Where did you go exactly just now? Hello? Are you there? Chadson?
Greg,
Did we lose stream? Yes.
stop it.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I saw a screen and I'm like, what happened?
No, I got to figure out what that hotkey is. But the Boss 429.
Oh, all good.
So you had.
So
no, I did that
hang
before
on, sorry,
stream, Keith.
I didn't finish the thought. So yeah, what is hot rodding? It's taking your biggest engine and shoving it every single place that it shouldn't rightfully be. The fact that was part of the car's history. It was like, design car, cool, put an engine in it, doesn't fit, redesign front end of car. That's awesome. That's badass. That should be at 2 for me because that's ridiculously awesome. Period.
No, it's the Boss 429 is one of those cars that would never be made today. You could make an argument that they've been making muscle cars, see
Never.
a Hellcat, right? But they took an engine that would fit, that they had basically already been using block-wise or dimensionality-wise, and then they just rebuilt the internals and made it badass. They didn't send it off to another company so they could literally cut up the front end of the car to make it fit. So it's very much a factory hot rod. It's very much a muscle car because, I mean, that engine is enormous. So
yeah, 10 out of 10. Well done.
Your third option is the Chevy Chevelle, the SS Chevelle, as it were.
So again, when you said Pontiac GTO Judge and I'm 5, I'm like Chevelle SS. I'm like 1. It's just, but I don't know because I don't know what else is on the list. That's the thing. Like, it's an awesome car, and it's really cool, and it makes just the best noises. It's also not the most mainstream one. Like, everyone that thinks of like Chevy in the muscle car era, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Chevelle.
No, 69 Camaro. It's like Z28 Camaro.
Okay.
All right, wait. Are you gonna make a pony car argument versus
versus
muscle car argument?
But here's the thing: you said Z28 Camaro. That is literally the handling package. That's the car they took and raced in Trans Am. The big block SS Camaro. You'd have a little bit of a better argument. Now,
sure.
To your point about pony cars, are they kind of sort of the bastard love child of a sports car and a muscle car? Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. When you think of purebred muscle cars, big engine, just going like hell, yes, I can understand that. But the Chevelle is more definitively muscle car to Chevy than a Camaro.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't argue against that. But
I mean, I would
if
even
you
I would
ask,
sit
like,
here and
just a
say, like,
normal
you could even say
person,
like a
what's
Chevy 2 or a Nova or something like that. But at any rate,
I don't know. For, I don't know. I got, I don't know. I love how the Chevelle looks. I love what it stands for. I think I just love the Chevelle. So I mean, I'll put it at number one. Honestly, I think it's when I think of muscle car, the Chevelle SS is sort of what I think of. And if I had the money, I would buy a really cool one.
that is a very I did not have you and the Chevelle in the same sort of stratosphere. However,
I very much like it.
however, which brings me to our next car, which brings us to our next car, the Oldsmobile 442, Cutlass 442.
Okay. Well, I mean, in that same Chevelian way, it's again, it's up there. Like it's tough because the Cutlass 442 is another one is when you think muscle car, to me, this one is also one of the quintessential ones when you think of muscle car. So I don't know. I'd probably put that at 3, just because I mean I wish I had it at 2, but yeah, I know. I know something's coming, but I'll put it at 3, and I'm sure like something if the fourth one's gonna be like, fuck. But um, yeah, I'll put that at 3 just because again, it's cool. It's it's a muscle car classic, and it's a similar body shape to the Chevelle, so I do like it.
Okay. So, by default, your number
Oh, no.
4 So by default, the number 4, so one up from the very bottom, American muscle car that you is the Hemi Cuda.
Actually, I'm okay with that. And that might seem like a very wild concept, but same with the GTO. I respect them as muscle cars. The Hemi Cuda doesn't really do anything for me, which is probably strange to hear, but I just the others, I'm actually very okay with this list for me. The Hemi Cuda probably could go at 3, maybe. Maybe I'd swap the Cutlass and the Hemi Cuda. But if I'm at a car show and these 5 cars that you just named are there, the Hemi Cuda is one of the ones that I would go to first, only for the sense of just like, cool, I saw it. I'm gonna go spend more time with those.
Interesting just how wrong you are.
I knew it was good. That's probably the number 1 for you, I'd imagine.
I mean, it's a toss up between that and the 420 Boss 429. If we're just going by quintessential muscle car, I mean, my first thought was to like basically I was like, okay, I had the Hemi Charger. All right, there was a Hemi Cuda. There was a Hemi this. Like at first I was just gonna go all Mopar, and see where it was like that. But for me, if you're talking about Mopars that they slapped a Hemi in, the Cuda's at the top of the list because it looks the best. It looks better than the of the same era Challenger. It's looks better in my opinion than the Daytona. Or not the Daytona. The Charger. Now, I was tempted to put things like the Superbird and the Charger Daytona on here just because of how redonkulous they are. But
yes, very much.
You know, classic 60s muscle car. And here's the fun thing. All of these cars were made in I wanted to be like the 1969 Boss 429, the 1969 SS Chevelle, the 1969 Hemi Cuda, the 1969 Olds Corvette. Like, you know,
Yeah.
look, I think at the end of the day, it is subjective when it comes to what you want and what you don't want. When it comes to these cars and stuff, right? Like,
Very true.
I've always had a soft spot for the Hemi Cuda, but like, again, like I think I was fairly correct in my original thought process of this list was in the fact that when people think of Gregson Mate, just the name alone is like, oh fuck, this guy doesn't care. He wouldn't know a fucking muscle car if it ran him over. You're not a muscle car guy. Like, it's just
I'm not
your shtick.
I love them, but if I had money, that would be my like 10th car.
You know, so no, I don't think you're innately wrong with
I'm cool.
that list.
I'm cool with the Chevelle at top though. Honestly,
That's interesting.
I've always loved Chevelles, which is probably surprising to you, because we haven't really talked about muscle cars at length in that sense. But
Yeah.
I love Chevelles. If I was gonna buy a muscle car, it's between that and a Camaro.
Interesting.
Those are the two that I would say are at
So
the
why
top.
aren't you? So Hansen has always said how much he wants like a Charger or a Challenger. Why don't you get one of the 7th gen Camaros?
So the new Camaros are not my cup of tea. They are not my brand of Bud Heavy. I would rather have a 4th gen Camaro. I'll leave it at that.
The rolling cheese wedge.
Correct. I would rather have a rolling cheese wedge.
You know why I think that's the case for you?
I don't like the new
I
ones.
know. You know why I think
period.
that's the case for you? Because you grew up on '90s Trans Am, and in race car
totally.
trim, those things look pretty badass.
Yeah, they do. They are awesome. And I also grew up on 90s Gran Turismo, in which that car in that game, very underrated. And also, they're just, in certain ways, they're very cool because they are sort of the bastard stepchild of the Camaros. And like, not a lot of people love them. But I wouldn't say I love them, but I still think that they're cool if done right.
Fair enough. I mean, I love the fact that Cooper Bogetti put a 2J in it, and it's like an 8-second, like 1,000+ horsepower 2J. I think that's fucking awesome. No, I mean, look,
fantastic.
like, you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. At the end of the day, it's not the internet buying you a car or buying a car. It's you.
Correct.
So you got to get with what you like.
Yeah, but you should like a Chevelle because they're awesome.
I'd have to. That would almost be my number 5.
Really?
I've never been a big Chevelle guy.
I love them.
I always liked the GTOs. The 442. I love the fact that it's like an Oldsmobile with a big ass pissed off V8.
Yep.
The Boss 429, for reasons we discussed earlier, they literally.
Oh yeah.
And
Just
it was
insane.
It was literally done as a homologation special. Like, that's the only
Pretty
reason
much,
it happened. Which is something you don't see these days.
No.
And just when people think muscle
They're
cars, they
super
think
badass.
Hemi Cuda. So that's why that would be my direction. Just
True. Well, that is the Dukes of Hazzard tie-in.
no, it isn't.
Wait, I thought
They
the Dukes.
drove a Charger.
I thought it was a Cuda.
No, they drove a Charger.
Is it a Charger?
Yes.
Dukes of. How? I did not realize that. I thought it was a Cuda. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see it. Okay. Yeah, I see it. It is a Charger. Also, speaks volumes for how much Dukes of Hazzard I actually watched.
I was going to say speaks
Which is
volume.
0.
Speaks volume as to how we should not take you as an authority on muscle cars.
That is also correct.
Oh,
That is also correct. I got a good one for next week.
we got a
good one for you.
This is a CUDA.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. The Charger is different.
Yes. All right, so at any rate, I think that's a
I
good
agree with Keith.
look. That's the thing. That's why cars are great. That's why you can have one opinion, I can have another, and they're not wrong. Well,
Exactly.
yours,
Mostly.
if you have an accent above any letter in your last name and you're commenting on muscle cars, you're wrong. But
Haha, I don't anymore.
thanks to everyone who watched, liked, to share this video. We appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you. We'll be back next week. If you guys are
Sounds like
enjoying,
get
if you
me
guys
outta
are
here.
enjoying these lists, feel free, especially if you're part of the squad or you're on the Discord. Shoot us list ideas because these are a lot of fun, and frankly, it makes my job easier when it comes to making content for short form. So,
Accurate.
but again, that's what we're going to call it for a night. Thanks again to everyone, and we will see you